And you are now in the mix with my brother, CDE's own DJ.
Get back, the guy that's been doing it. Oh. All right, we're gonna get ready for our next speaker coming to the main stage, discussing We're gonna get ready for our main speaker coming to the stage in just a moment, discussing self-made as a myth. Build your personal advisory board. Please make some noise real quick for Keith Chaney.
Appreciate the intro. Thank you everyone for taking the time to listen to me chat this afternoon. As he mentioned, my name is Keith Chaney. I am co-founder and CEO of a software platform, Peebo. So a little bit about me, born and raised in Flint, Michigan, although I've lived in DC for the last 10 years or so. Professionally, I've worked at a few companies, including Google, McKinsey, Capital One, and then Booz Allen Hamilton as well. But now I'm actually out on my own doing the founder thing. Thank you. So I want to talk to you guys about this picture. This picture, what's up? Happy Founders Day, belated for all the bros in here. But this picture should have been one of the happiest days of my life, right? I had just graduated, I got an engineering degree. As you can see, I'm surrounded by an amazing family. My family would do anything to help me win. Unfortunately, no one in that picture had worked for Google or McKinsey. No one in that picture had gotten their MBA. And so despite their best efforts, no one in that picture could tell me the things I needed to know to succeed in those spaces. By a show of hands, how many of you are the first generation in your family to either go to college or work in your field? A lot of us, a lot of us. So you know how terrified that can be, knowing you're about to step out of this student thing, which you've mastered, into a new world that you don't necessarily know how to navigate. Now, in addition to that, managing your career in general is just a lot. You got networking events, you got everybody posting their highlights on social media, so you think everybody else is getting every promotion, every salary boost, even though they're all lying. You got your side hustle because you need a side hustle in this economy. You got new tech you got to learn. You got to look out for layoffs. I was actually laid off from Google earlier this year. You got managers that give ambiguous feedback. You got market fluctuations. You got a lot of stuff that you have to worry about, in addition to being a trailblazer for your family, trying to change the path economically that you all are on. To make that a little bit harder, according to LinkedIn, 85% of jobs are filled through personal networks. So what that means is even if you worked your ass off in school, you got the 4.0, you got the perfect resume, you're the most qualified person for the role, somebody else might know somebody. And if you went to a PWI like I did, you saw a lot of that. Oh, my uncle, oh, my dad works with so-and-so, and they get into the company through the side door. Meanwhile, you're putting your resume on top of a stack. It's not fair, but that's typically how it goes. And so I want to talk about how we can take advantage of that fact by kind of shifting our mindsets and how we manage our careers. So everybody knows mentors, coaches, they're important. We all talk about it. I want to give a few examples. Does anybody know who that is, top left? Warren Buffett, right, Warren Buffett. A lot of people don't realize Jay-Z has been being mentored by Warren Buffett for over a decade. So while we celebrate Hov being the first rap billionaire and all these things, we got to keep in mind that he's getting game from somebody. What about top right? Does anybody know who is on the far left in that picture? All right. So the woman in that picture with Barack and Michelle is Valerie Jarrett. Valerie Jarrett is a DC, Chicago OG. She makes things happen. And before we knew either of them, Valerie Jarrett was a mentor to Michelle. And if you know Michelle and Barack's story, she was actually a bit of a mentor to Barack. And so they had people in their corner giving them the game. Bottom left, I'm sure we all know these three. This is a trifecta of amazing actors, including the late Chadwick. But a lot of people don't realize that Sidney Poitier was a mentor to Denzel, and Denzel was a mentor to Chadwick. Denzel actually paid Chadwick's tuition to go to school overseas to get some additional acting lessons. And then bottom right, one of my favorites. Those are the four horsemen. Everybody knows LeBron James, but a lot of people don't know Mav, Rich, and Randy. Mav, Rich, and Randy are people that LeBron knew from back in Akron, and he saw potential in them. And so rather than going after the best sports agent, he put Rich on. Rather than going after the best entertainment mogul, he put Mav on. And Randy is actually his chief of staff. And if you follow Rich, Rich is now the biggest sports agent in sports. I think the first day of NBA free agency, he closed around $200 million in deals. And he just closed Jalen Hurts' biggest quarterback deal of all time. And if you've ever seen The Shop, that's Mav. He runs Spring Hill, the whole entertainment committee. And what I'm just showing is examples of what this should look like. And I want to talk about how you should take some of this approach and build a team around you. We talk about mentors, but I want to provide a slightly different approach to this. What if you took the approach businesses take? Every company you know of, every company the last group talked about, even though they're billion-dollar corporations, they understand they need a board. They need a talented team to help them reach their goals. I believe you should have a board too. And that's why I started my company, PBA, which is short for Personal Advisory Board. So you take that approach, apply it to your professional journey, build and manage a board dedicated to helping you avoid obstacles and reach your dreams. Now, I don't want to take credit for this because it's not new. I didn't make this up. Billionaires, CEOs, executives have been doing this for years. Every headline you see is from the Wall Street Journal. They've been running a series on your personal board of directors for over a decade. And what it looks like is you have somebody who everybody knows is successful, and you ask them what happened, and they start to name these people that nobody knows. People that help them to avoid obstacles, people that advise them, people that help them to make the right moves financially so that they could win. The problem is a lot of people don't understand they need this until later in their career because they want to get it out the mud. They think they're smart enough. And while you are smart enough, I challenge you, and I challenge us specifically, to start to adopt this practice earlier in our careers. Find people who can help us and challenge us on our path to success. Now, what does that look like? Structure. Structure is key. I don't use the word mentor very often when I talk about what my business does, because if you ask somebody to be your mentor, they don't know what that means. They don't know what the commitment is. They don't know how much you're going to be needing from them. And so what I advise people to do is ask people to serve on your board. And you give them the structure that looks something like this. My board and I meet every quarter for 1 hour. I meet with every individual on my board every quarter for 30 minutes or more. And so what that positions me to do is say, I'm not going to ask you to be my mentor. I'm going to ask you if I could get 6 hours this year, and you help me to accomplish my goals. I'm going to put you on a team, and you all are going to help me to win. What I'm learning through my company and through my own experience is nobody says no to that. 6 hours a year. Look at the visual. All the white dots are your year. The one on the bottom left is 6 hours. When you frame it that way, it's a lot easier for people to say, okay, I can give you that. Even if I'm busy, even if I have a million commitments, I think I can do that. Now that small ask for you makes a lot of impact. So what that might look like, if you have 4 people on your board or 5 people on your board, you now have 4 dedicated meetings every quarter where your success becomes a group project. We're not talking about what they're doing. We're talking about what you want to do and how they can help you. You now have 20 plus one-on-one sessions. And I say plus because while I asked all my board members for that 6 hours, a few of my board members are so into helping me win, we talk every week. One of them every morning on the way to the gym, 15 minutes, what's going on? What's bothering you today? What can I help you with? So I'm getting a lot more than what I originally asked for, and that's another secret. They're gonna give you way more than the 6. You just ask for the 6 so you can get the yes. And then that's 14 plus hours of coaching, all dedicated to helping you reach your goals. And beyond being mentors, what it also does is help you to develop sponsors. Everybody talks about how valuable the sponsor is, and it's true. Unfortunately, sometimes the only way to get a sponsor is to have somebody that you've worked with because they know your output, they know your product. This is a way to kind of cheat that system. If I tap you and say, hey, could you serve on my board for 2024? We're gonna meet 4 times. If in our January board meeting, I'm telling you, I wanna do this, 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 and they say, hey, you should do this, and then meet this person and take this class. When we meet back in April, I don't wanna come to them and tell them I didn't do the things I said I was gonna do. And so what happens over the course of those board meetings is I'm building my credit score. By the time we've had 4 board meetings and I've checked off all these action items, that person who was open to be a mentor and kind of give me game is now a sponsor. Hey, this is somebody you wanna hire. Everything I told her or asked her to do to help her to reach her goals, she did. She went above and beyond. And now you're building sponsors in rooms you don't have access to outside of your company in case you ever do get laid off or you decide you want to go on a different path. So as you build your board, I want to talk about a few roles that you might want to consider. The first role, probably most important, is your challenger. So this probably isn't your favorite person to talk to, but it's someone that you know is going to tell you what you need to hear. Your challenger is the one that's going to say, that's really good, but that ain't it. That's not your best. I've seen you do better. And so my challenger, my board is like 3/5 challengers because I like tough love, but they kick my ass every quarter. And I appreciate it because they help me to fine tune my strategy to build this company. The next board member, that might be an industry expert. So if you know exactly what you want to do, you want to be a consultant, you want to be a software engineer, that's the person who actually does it and can tell you exactly how to navigate that field, things they wish they would have done differently, and how they can help you win. The next board member might be a connector. And so the connector might be somebody you've seen today giving everybody hugs, saying, what's up? Like, how do you know everybody here? Or when you're on LinkedIn, you always see their face in the mutuals. That tends to be me. But I'm sure you all have somebody, or y'all go out just to be social and they want to stop and talk to everybody on the way to the club, and you like killing our schedule. That's your connector. That's the person who can help you to meet somebody in the company that you don't know anyone at because they just happen to know everybody in DC or Atlanta or wherever it is you live. Next, and this is very important, is the near peer. We make the mistake of assuming that if we want to be CEO, our mentor has to be the CEO. The fact of the matter is the CEO, their path is looking very different than your path is going to look. The best board member for you might be somebody who's a senior manager when you're just a manager, because they can tell you exactly how to get the promotion in today's economy, in today's workplace. So don't think it has to be the sexy title. You got a lot of board members sitting with you right now. Don't leave without making those connections. And then finally, and this one is important to me because I think during my career I allowed groupthink to kind of drive some of my decisions, but that's your anchor. Who knows you? Like really knows you, knows your core values, your principles, and if they catch you kind of straying off, can bring you back in. And what I mean is, so when I was in business school, I came in, I wanted to do ops, I wanted to do entrepreneurship, but everybody wanted to work for this damn company called McKinsey. And so I drank the Kool-Aid. Oh yeah, everybody want to work for McKinsey, I want to work for McKinsey. Knowing McKinsey consultants work a lot of hours, knowing you're going to be on the road 80%. If I would have had somebody to say, hey, are you sure you want to do all of that and everything that comes with it? I probably would have reconsidered. Now, that wasn't a diss to McKinsey. One of the best companies I've ever worked for, but you want to have people who know you because there's always going to be something shiny and flashy and you might go after it and somebody might be able to bring you back in. And I want to show a clip kind of about the near peer piece.
One of our other writers, Amy Aniobi, was talking about, like I was listening to one of her interviews and she was like, we have a tendency to try to like, when we network up, and it really is about networking across, like who's next to you, who's struggling, who's in the trenches with you, who's just as hungry as you are. And those are the people that you need to build with. It's not about like finding, hitting up, like calling Tyler Perry, like how can I work with you? Calling Ava to be like, how can I be on? It's about calling your college mate. It's about calling your coworker and saying, hey, you trying to do this? I'm trying to do this project. And literally every project that I've done, every friend of mine has been in some way, shape, or form because I needed them, because they were just down. They, they're not even part of the industry in many cases, just to help me make it work. And I would do the same for them in a heartbeat. It's just about, I guess, passion and hunger.
Like I said, think about the room you're in. Everybody here is at least somewhat interested in tech. Some people might want to be marketers. Some people might want to be product managers, developers. There are people in here who you can link up with and build something from scratch. And I think that's like the LeBron model in my mind. You don't have to go out there and find somebody and kind of kiss the ring if you just find the right people who are willing to hustle and get it out the mud with you. And so something to consider as you think about who might be on your board is who's in this room with me that I already know we have at least one thing in common. So this is a persona. This is Lisa. So if Lisa built her board, this is what that board might look like. One, she has David. David is her former manager. I have a former manager from Google on my board because he knows my work. He knows where I wasn't great. He knows where I was great. So he can speak to something that my other board members can't speak to. Next is Jessica, her sorority sister. Maybe she graduated 2-3 years ahead of her pro fight. She knows how to navigate this world that you're walking into. And so while you have your informal relationship, she's also a very, very good candidate to be someone you check in with on a bit more of a serious tone to help you to get the promotion. Next is Ashley. This is somebody just working in the same industry. She might have been Ashley here at Techsgiving. The next is Jason. And Jason is her cousin. He's a lawyer. She doesn't even want to do law, but he has transferable skills and experience and connections that may be able to help her to win, especially if she's in the same city. Because if you go to enough tech events in DC, especially targeting Black and brown people, you're going to see a lot of the same faces. And then finally, this is a bit of an edge case, but she has her father on her board. And so if you're like me, you really value your parents' wisdom and experience, but you don't want career advice at Thanksgiving dinner, right? So you can give them a very define specific role and say, yo, we're gonna have these board meetings, we're gonna have these check-ins. Outside of that, you just dad. Set the boundaries to where you can still get that value out of that person and not have to kind of bleed over into your personal life. When you get them all, this is how I feel when I meet with my board. It's like I've collected all the stones and now I can make it happen. So next I'm gonna pivot. I had an activity, but I don't have time to do it with y'all, I'm sorry. We're gonna talk about personal newsletters. So for your broader stakeholder community, right? You have your board, maybe it's 5, 6 people. You're meeting every quarter, you're meeting with them one-on-one. What about the other 70 people that you know who wanna see you win, but you don't necessarily have time to meet with on a regular basis? That's your newsletter audience. So you send these recurring email updates just to stay top of mind. Very short, very straight to the point. This is straight out of the startup playbook. Any startup founders in here? So you know you gotta send your investor updates. You gotta send your potential customer updates. Hey, TLDR, this is what we're doing this quarter. This went great. This is going terrible. These are some people I wanna meet. Companies understand they need to do this. Individuals don't understand how valuable this could be. I'm not one who's gonna post all my business on LinkedIn or Instagram, but there are people who I think I would benefit from knowing where I could use some help. And so if you're gonna send one of these, first thing you wanna do, keep it brief. Like I said, TLDR, if you don't know TLDR, that's Google speak for too long, didn't read. If you don't read this email, just read these 2 bullets. This is what you need to know. Then I might get into other recurring sections of this newsletter so that the people know what to expect. Now you can make them specific to a different audience. You can have your friends and family newsletter, your professional colleagues newsletter, your DC colleagues who maybe aren't as close as some of your college buddies, all these different audiences where you're just very light touch, staying top of mind with those people. So this is literally my newsletter format. TLDR, recent wins, lessons, because I don't like calling them losses, and then ask. If anybody knows this person or anybody knows someone at this company, specifically in HR, and can make a connection, I'd appreciate it. I'm always surprised because the person who responds with the connection is never who I thought it was gonna be. You don't know who knows who unless you just kind of throw that out there and give them that opportunity. And so, finish this for me. It's not what you know. No, it's not who you know. That's a lie. Because if you know Jeff Bezos, but you never tell him how he can help you, what good is the relationship? It's who knows what you need. Who knows how they can help you? And you're always gonna tell yourself, I don't wanna bother them, I don't wanna burden them. And that's why the newsletter is good, because you don't even expect them to reply. You're just saying, hey, this quarter, here's what I'm up to. Would love to meet so-and-so. And then Jeff's gonna see it like, oh, that ain't nothing. So you gotta let your people know what you need and how they can help you.